Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in on you. Hope everybody is having an awesome day, start to their week. It's Tuesday. Hopefully, you've gotten into a groove. You have a clear idea of what it is you hope to accomplish for this week, and you have a plan of action which you are now carrying out. Um, Success is about what you do consistently. It's not one action, even though you must start by taking action. It's not a nuclear event, it is a process. And it's about what you do consistently. What you do consistently is ultimately going to predict the results uh, of your life in every area. What you do consistently in your marriage, what you do consistently in your pursuit of academic achievement, financial development and achievement, what you do in every way of living and in every facet of life. What you do consistently is going to be the most prominent predicting factor of what you can expect from life. It is that simple. Before I get started on the topic of the day, I just want to ask a couple of questions to parents. If you're a parent, a auntie, or uncle, um, here's the question. When is the last time, if at all, you've talked to your child or teenager about compound growth as far as um, finances and income is concerned? When is the last time you've discussed the importance of proper money management, budgeting, investing? One of the greatest failures in the home is the failure to have adequate discussions and teaching moments about money. Financial literacy is a major requisite for long-term success in finance. Doesn't mean you're not going to have hard times. Doesn't mean that there are not going to be difficulties and challenges. That's life. Life does that. You're going to have to navigate those. But when you have an understanding of how money works, you have an understanding of how to use money, how to make money work for you instead of you slaving for it. And it begins and it works best the earlier you begin. If you can get your children started on the right path now, by the time they're 40, they are set. And that is regardless of where they start at. I'm telling you, I've seen people start from poverty and do exceptional things. And I talk about it in this new guide that I've created for parents and adults who want to reach children, and for some who simply themselves don't have an understanding of the basics of finance. This isn't the comprehensive courses I offer in understanding finance on a higher level and getting off into creating financial independence and independent wealth and all of that. That's for primarily for adults. But you have to start somewhere. You have to get children aware of what's out there, how money really works. What is money? Money versus currency. All of these different conversations you have to have. And I created a real simple 30 plus page guide. I think it's like 35-page guide that shows you how to introduce the entire concept of money to your child or teen and how to teach them about the proper practices of advancing in their financial careers to achieve things that are exceptional. And this is not withheld from anyone. Some people have a longer distance to travel and require greater level of discipline and sacrifice, but anybody can do it. The link to get this guide, and I made it affordable for anybody who actually wants to do it. No, I did not make it free. Free doesn't work. Free doesn't hold anybody accountable. Free doesn't account for the years it took me to develop the knowledge and the skills to be able to teach and share this. Plus, it doesn't hold the person that it's being shared with accountable for doing anything with it. They have no skin in the game. $10 is all that it is, and you can literally change your children's lives. And in some instances, there are some of you who can have their lives changed. That link is there. There are also some other links in the description box of resources that you can get, as well as learning how you can work with me in a one-on-one basis as far as performance in life is concerned on a number of different areas, topics, and facets. So now that that's out of the way, good morning, Kim. How are you doing? Now that that is out of the way, let's talk about what we're talking about today. You versus you. I see people comparing themselves to other people. I see people so focused on the obstacles of life. I see people focused on the past. I see people focused on everything except themselves. Look, this journey in life, this battle, this war, this competition, it's not with you or against anyone else. I mean, it's not with or against anyone else. It is you versus you. It is the you that is driven and passionate and committed versus the you that has become comfortable, complacent, and satisfied, or fearful of moving. You are going to be the determining factor, not the external or exogenous forces out there that are moving against you as you see them or interpret them, but the very things that you're willing to do. I'm going to talk to you about a few things. First and foremost, what I find is that a lot of people actually make the decision that they're going to change, that they're going to lose weight, that they're going to invest their money in a wise way, that they're going to learn more about finance, that they're going to improve their marriage, that they are going to increase their knowledge and their worth and value in the world by advancing themselves and developing themselves in a number of different ways. And they're excited about it when they make that decision. Here's the thing, though. After the excitement comes the work. After the excitement, you meet the challenges. After the excitement, you're faced with obstacles. After the excitement, your commitment is challenged. After the excitement must be self-discipline. So many people get excited and then they wake up the next morning and then, oh man, okay, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna do it. And then by the end of that first week, man, this is a whole lot harder than I thought it was be. Absolutely. Anything worth having is going to have its challenges. Anything worth having is going to come with its difficulty. If you're looking for ease, you're never going to get anything worth having. Everything worth having is on the other side of fear, on the other side of pain, on the other side of the fight. You're going to have to square your shoulders, hold your head up, and head out and actually commit to doing it. It's about a resilience and a commitment underwritten by self-discipline that says, I will not quit. I will not get up. I will not give up. I will not turn back. I will not relent. It is so important that you understand that after you make that decision and all that excitement and emotion that you feel comes the work. As a matter of fact, the second thing I want to share with you is that's why it's so important that after you make the commitment, you stay true to what you promised yourself that you were going to do. See, again, this is you versus you. It's not about anybody else. This is you versus you. Stay true to the promises that you made yourself long after the mood that you made the promise in has left. Most people make the promise. They're in this hyper excited mood. They're in this mood of, oh my God, look what I'm about to do. I'm about to change my life. I'm about to start building wealth. I'm about to improve my marriage. I'm about to take my kids to a new level. I'm about to start a new business. All of these different things. Oh my God, I'm excited about it. And then the work comes and guess what? The mood changes. See, life isn't about a mood. People ask me all the time, why is it that it seems that your marriage is so steady, that it doesn't seem like there are hiccups? Well, first and foremost, I don't share that part of my life. That's the part of my life I work on with my wife. What we go through that may be challenging isn't for the world, because the world will stick its nose in and stir the pot. But if you're asking me what I personally do that contributes to this consistency in the way I handle the marriage and the way I treat my wife, it's simple. I treat my wife based on the promises I made to my wife and God, not on how I feel. See, there are times I'm looking and I'm tired. There are times I'm looking and I'm frustrated. There are times I'm looking and I'm saying, man, but then I'm reminded that I made a vow. And the vow wasn't about the mood I was in when I made it. When I made the vow, I was excited, man. I've got this wonderful, beautiful woman in front of me. But see, before I even asked her to marry me, I knew that life came with challenges, and that simply being in love with someone wasn't going to exempt me from the challenges of making this thing the best it could possibly be. So I already knew that there was work to be done. So I didn't go in thinking that this life is going to be one long 45, 50-year honeymoon. No, it's going to be work. It's going to be about being committed to making it as good as it possibly can be. And so when I get to the challenge, I'm not in a place where I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this. This is happening. That's happening. This is too much. No, it's not about how I feel. It's about the commitment I made. It's the same way with anything else I approach in life. Once I set my mind to do it, I'm going to get it or I'm going to die trying. Those are the only two options. It's not about the struggle. It's not about the difficulty. It's not about the pain. It's not about the delay. It's not about the disappointment. It's about the focus and the commitment to finish what I start. So I do what I promised myself I would do long after the mood I made the promise in has left. You've got to get out of this idea that it's about how I feel. How you feel will vacillate and move all over the place over the course of your life, over the course of a day. What you got to do is wake up and say, hey, look, I'm grateful. I'm committed. This is going to be a good day. Not because there won't be challenges, not because there won't be people that's going to say things that are out of line, but because I have decided that I'm going to achieve the things I set out to do, regardless of what anyone else is doing. It's about you versus you. Next, how many have really sit down and had this real deep examination of where you're at and where you're going and ask yourself why? How many of you truly know your why? How many of you are doing what you're doing to prove something to somebody else? How many of you are doing this to prove something to your childhood or to an absent parent or to someone who broke up with you and left you and you felt didn't see just how much you brought to the table? And so you are literally living your life doing things, trying to prove to somebody in your past, and many instances, someone that might not even still be alive, that you are worthy of their love, worthy of their attention. How many of you are doing it because society says it's what should be done? See, if you don't know your why, life is going to be very challenging. Life is going to be very confusing. Life is going to be very, 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 very disruptive. Why? Because there's just going to be things you run into that are so huge that it don't make sense unless you know your why, unless you're acquainted with your purpose, unless you have a sense of identity that tells you why you're here, why you're doing what you're doing. And your why has to be bigger than any challenge that you're ever going to face, or you'll quit. Your why has to be your purpose. Your why has to be that deep thing that's so deeply rooted in your soul, it can't be extracted. It's not about just being happy. It's not about just being wealthy. It's not just about being impactful. It's about living out an innate purpose that's bigger than you. And when you become acquainted with your why, things start to make sense. I said this a long time ago and people were looking at me like I was crazy. I said, once you discover your purpose, it will explain your pain. There are some things you've gone through in life that made no sense to you. It's because you haven't become acquainted with your purpose. When you become acquainted with your purpose, all of a sudden what happened back then makes sense because it prepared you and put you in the right place to be exactly what you need to be right now. You got to know who you are. Next, let's see. Oh man, here's one that really gets a lot of people. Ditch the plan B. Ditch it. People say, man, you always got to have something to fall back on. Have an alternative option of movement to plan A. If you sit up and say, this is what I'm going to do in life, this is my purpose, this is my work, this is where I'm going to hang my hat, then that's where you've got to be. Let me tell you what happens with plan Bs. Plan Bs are always less in achievement and accomplished in status and whatever else than plan A, right? Which means what? It doesn't take as much to get there. So guess what happens? When plan A starts kicking your butt, plan B starts looking real good. And because you have an option, when things get tight, you bounce from plan A and you go to plan B. So the truth was plan B was always your plan A in the first place. When you don't have a plan B, you figure out plan A. It may call for some adjustments. It may call for a new approach, but the end goal is the same. If I'm going to start this business, then I'm going to start this business. Now, if I decide, okay, I'm gonna start this business. If not, then I'm gonna go get a job at so and so and so. And this isn't about any against anything about anybody. Do what you're passionate about. Do it. If you wake up and you have a job and you go to your job every day and you can't wait to get out of your bed to go to your job because you absolutely love what you're doing, you love who you work for, you love how much they pay you, and you are literally excited on Monday morning to get up and go to work, there's nothing wrong where you're at if you're planning on making sure that at a certain point in time, you don't need the job because you've taken the money you've earned on the job and you've created a new stream of multiple. Matter of fact, you created multiple streams of income from that job so that when you retire from that job, you continue living the lifestyle you live. Then do you. This isn't about, what I'm saying is 85% of the people in this world wake up and go to jobs they hate. Over 80% of the first-time heart attacks happen on Monday morning between 5 a.m. and 12 noon. Why? First day back at the office, first day back on the truck, first day back at the warehouse, wherever this job is that's putting all this stress on you. That first day back says, it's 5 days of this crap I got to deal with. And your stress levels are through the roof. Cortisol is just rushing through your body, adrenaline rushing through your body. Your capillaries and arteries are constantly restricted, allowing less and less blood to flow through, making it harder for your heart to pump. You've got to sit up and say, I'm going to get it done. I'm going to finish. Next, let's talk about pain. Remember, I just said that when you discover your purpose, it will explain your pain. And let me tell you something. People avoid pain like the plague, and I don't blame you. I don't like pain either. But let me explain something. Pain is not your enemy. It's your servant. Pain is there to tell you when something's not right, when something is wrong, when something needs attention. Pain is there to tell you it's time for you to take action. When something is painful, it's saying, hey, something's wrong here. You need to do something different. You need to address whatever is causing the pain. It may be you're in a bad relationship. It may mean that you're on a bad job. It may mean that you haven't put enough time in the gym. It may mean that you're eating the wrong foods. And it's emotional pain, psychological pain, physical pain, whatever kind of pain you're experiencing, it's your servant. It's there to tell you something's not right. It's there to tell you it's time to take action. It's your responsibility to examine it at whatever level you need to examine it at, and then deal with it. Most people, I'm moving through this thing as quickly as possible. Here's another one for me. And when I say this, a lot of people look at me with the side eye. But you have to understand, most people dabble in thousands upon thousands of things, but never master any. You're just doing things and feeling your way around, but you're never committing to anything. Master something. Do you realize that if you commit to doing something consistently on a daily basis, that within 3 to 3.5 years, you will literally develop the level of proficiency in doing it, and understanding it, and having awareness of it and knowledge of it, that you are literally at the level of an expert? that you can become an expert in anything you desire to be an expert in by committing to doing it, studying it, learning it, practicing it for from 3 to 3.5 years, that you can literally forge your way into this world's workforce, business force, whatever you want to call it, and literally forge your own place in the system by creating a value, by becoming an expert at something. And you can do that in 3.5 years, and you can literally do it without actually having to go out and accrue debt to get a degree. That you can do it in simply finding someone who knows how to do it well, and learning it and practicing it and studying it and competing and repeating it over and over again. And then within 3 to 3.5 years, you will have become an expert at it. You will know it in and out, upside down. You will understand what will happen when that happens. You'll understand what to do when this happens. You'll understand how to make this happen. All of these things by simply committing to master something. And I say people give me the side eye because I've done a lot. Well, I'm 54 years old, and I've done a lot because I've committed to doing things over and over. When I knock something out of the box, I'm on to something else. And if I love what I'm doing, I continue to do that, but I'm on to mastering something else. I'm on to achieving something else. I'm on to doing something, but I'm always committed to being the best I can at it. I'm not just dabbling in it. If I decide to do it, I've already made up in my mind, I'm committing at least 3.5 years to it. I'm going to master it. It's going to become, if nothing else, become a part of my repertoire. That's what it's about. It's about growing yourself. See, I didn't get to where I'm at by stepping out and said, okay, I'm going to be this person. And then a week later, I was this person. This is me from as early back as 10 years old, reading stuff that the average 10-year-old wasn't reading. This is me back in high school, writing articles that were being nationally published because I had done spent years before that studying, writing, and reading. It's me having teachers in high school that taught me how to write essays on a master's level in high school English. It's about me sitting up and saying, I'm not satisfied. I'm going to do something better with myself. I'm not better than anybody else, but I can do better if I act on things more efficiently, more fluidly. If I commit to do something with direct determination and force, there's nothing that can stop me. One of my teachers in high school pulled me over to the side, wasn't even in our class at the time, and just said, hey, look, always stay focused. Be careful of the company you keep because association brings about assimilation, son. It says, just understand that there's something special inside of you. The word will never apply to you. Never let anyone use it in referencing you, and you never use it on your concerning yourself. That word is toxic and it's poison. Don't use it. And here I am, 40-something companies later, 24 published books later, thousands of articles later, all of the material things that I've done and accomplished over the years that have very little value to me now, but meant a lot to me when I was younger. But the lives I've touched still make me feel kind of gooey inside. The people who come to me and say, you changed my life. I'm like, no, you changed your life. I just helped you. I can't change you. I can show you how to change you. I can give you direction. I can shorten the learning curve, but you have to change you. I'm almost done. Life and change have a price tag. I once heard, and I often share what I heard. So life will pay whatever price you demand of it. But in paying that price, it's going to make a counter demand. It's going to demand you do the things necessary to become the person you need to be in order to have it. Life is going to make that. Change comes with a price tag. The biggest thing I've seen as far as that's concerned is that most people aren't willing to pay the price. People want to sit up and have without going through the process. They want the promise, without the process. You've heard me say that so many times in the past. Process always precedes promise. You're going to pay the price if you want the prize. You're going to go through the process if you want the promise. You are going to have to pay the price of change. It may mean staying out of the shopping malls more and in investing that money if you want to get ahead financially. It's going to mean slowing down and being more resilient and forceful in your business while it's going through a downturn in order to save the business. It's going to require that you spend more intimate moments with your spouse. And I'm not talking about sex. I'm talking about the learning of one another, the connectivity that's deeper than the physicality of the relationship. I'm talking about that's going to be required of you some action that costs you something in order to become what you need to be in order to have what you say you want. You don't get what you want. You get who you are. If you want something and you don't have the capacity to create it, it's because you have not yet become the person that's capable, but you can. I'm almost done. I've sort of alluded to this earlier, so I won't touch on this too long. But the path to success is forged with maximum action and with intent, with a direct determination of what it is you're trying to come out and have. You want success in any area of life, you're going to have to take massive action. You're going to have to be determined to finish what you start. You're going to have to be committed. You're going to have to be willing to go the distance. It's not about how smart you are. It's not about how much you know. It's about how committed you are. It's about how consistent you are. What are you doing? This is another one. What are you doing most consistently right now in any area of life? That's going to be a direct indicator of what you can expect. What you do most consistently is what's going to produce your results. You can't do something sporadically and expect it to have longevity and produce long-term results. You're going to have to get into a practice of doing the things that are necessary on a consistent basis. You're going to have to wake up and do it every day. You can't sit up and eat and sit at a computer all day and then get up on Saturday and say, I'm going to the gym, and go up there and put in, I don't care how many hours, and then get back to the normal, consistent, sedentary lifestyle, poor eating habits on Sunday and expect anything remotely related to health. What are you doing most consistent? What are you doing most consistently? That's going to determine the outcome. That's going to determine it. You have got to change your behavior, not just in external or overt behavior, but the things that control the behavior, your thought processes. How are you thinking? What are you thinking? How are you thinking? How are you moving? You've got to change the internal workings to change the external movements. And that's what changes the results. What habits are you forming that are opposed to the poor habits you've been practicing? You've got to get the old out and bring in the new. This is you versus you. This is you versus you. This has nothing to do with anything else out there. This is you versus you. You're competing against your potential. You are waging a war against that part of you that doesn't want to be committed, that doesn't want to feel the pain, that doesn't want to go through the difficult moments. You are facing some things that you are going to have to confront. You versus you. I thank you guys for stopping in and sharing with me. It's always a pleasure to bring what I bring. I do it out of love. I do it out of a passion. I do it so that there is in some place, somewhere, content that is free that people can search, read, and at least invest themselves into the shallow waters of change. As I always say, I live my life on full so that when I leave this place, I die on E. And some people say, what does that really mean? It means that there's a level of potential in me, not just for my whole life, but each and every day has potential. My goal is to use that potential to its fullest so that I leave nothing on the table because I can't come back and grab it once the day is gone. I've got to get up. I've got to use that potential. So I go to bed every day on E, and I rejuvenate, I replenish. I wake up revitalized and ready to go out and do it again. I don't want to leave because see, there's 86,400 seconds in every day. How you use them from the time that you're sleeping, the time with your family, the time you're working on your craft, the time you're planning, all of that is going to determine the outcome of your life. Those 86,400 seconds, every last one of them has purpose. Don't waste it. Also, don't forget, if you haven't been teaching financial literacy to your child or your teen, your nephews, your nieces, those you love, and preparing them for what the real world looks like so they actually have a head start and get out in front of life instead of life always being in front of them, get that guide. That guide, the link is in there. It's the guide for financial literacy for teens. Get that guide. Everybody can afford it. It's $10. Everybody should have it. Everybody should be getting it and giving it to their family and friends because that's where we're failing the most. We're not preparing anyone to be out and ahead of the game from day one. And we have the ability to do that. And there are some other resources there as well, but that's the one I want to talk on. On that note, I'm out. You guys have an unbelievable day.